I'm here at Nordhouse Dunes wilderness area near Ludington, Michigan to start a hike today. It's a nice sunny day. It is on the cool side. It's probably in the 40s right now. There's a lot of wind coming off the lake. In fact, I've had to delete the original audio for this part of the video because of all the wind noise. So I'm doing an overdub right now. I'm hiking along a ridge that goes above the lake shore, as you can see. It's pretty steep off to my right. Most areas you can't really get down to the lake. However, there's a stairway coming up, one of the few places that they provide so you can walk down to the lake, go over the sand dunes, and access the lake. And there's the stairway right there. I'm going to continue going south on the trail until I get to a place where there's another trail that heads east away from the lake, and it will take me to a small inland lake called Nordhaus Lake, which is where I'll be doing my camping today. Found this tree along the trail. It's full of animal scat at the base. And then there's a hollow part in the tree that's all stuffed with porcupine quills. So I'm sure that this is or was the home of a porcupine. Kind of interesting. Lots of low spots in the woods that are full of water right now. It's been such a wet spring that things haven't really dried up yet. So I'm hoping when I get to my camping area that I find it nice and dry. I'm at the top of a long uphill climb. Well, not really long, just a couple minutes. I've been going south. The lake is right over there. And there seems to be a path that goes off away from the lake to the east. And according to the app on my phone and the GPS, this seems to be the trail that I want that takes me to Nordhaus Lake. So I'm going to head away from Lake Michigan now. Well, the trail led up to this sand bowl here. And after I make a change in my course, as I did back there on the trail, within a few minutes I usually check the GPS again to make sure I'm on the right track. And I thought I was on the wrong track, but I see on the far side of this sand bowl that the trail continues. So I'm going the right way. I was just being paranoid. Here's the continuation of my trail. It's going to head downhill for a little ways, so that's fine. I'm going the right way. You can see it snaking through the woods up ahead. It's a pretty nice trail. Mostly walking on sand and leaves. Well, after getting away from Lake Michigan, I think the temperature's gone up by at least 10 degrees. It's sunny right here, and there's not much breeze blowing because the wind is blocked by a ridge behind me. So it's more comfortable, although I am starting to sweat a little bit now.
I hiked this same trail, I think it was the same trail, about 9 months ago. And boy, does everything look different. I don't really recognize the trail. It's springtime, not everything has grown yet. Everything just looks different. So I'm going to keep checking my map that I have on my trail app. And I'm sure I'm going the right way. I'll get to Nordhaus Lake, and then I'll look for the same area to camp that I camped at 9 months ago. Like I said before, I hope it's a nice dry area and it's not all swampy right now. Well, here's a nice picture spot. I'm up high right here, and there's a clear spot in the trees, and I'm hoping you can see this in the video. Lake Michigan is off to the distance. It's a nice deep blue stripe below the sky right there. It's really nice. And then right behind me, the trail continues and starts to go downhill for a little bit. Well, I was hiking along, being real proud of myself for the good pace that I was keeping. It's a nice flat trail, nice and wide, no obstacles. So I thought, well, I'll check my map and see how I'm doing. Well, it turns out that I overshot my trail that I was supposed to turn on by a little ways. So now I'm heading back up the same trail that I came from, and I have to find the turnoff that I missed. These trails are not really marked. You just have to look for, I guess, follow the map and then look for where you see a little trail going off in a different direction, and I totally missed it. So I'll go back to the trail juncture and take the right path. Well, here it is. Turns out I only went about 3 or 4 minutes out of my way. This is the path I was on. This is the little offshoot that I was supposed to be on that's going to take me to Nordhaus Lake. So, back on the right track. Okay, here's Nordhaus Lake. Just like I remembered it from last year. Very nice little lake. You can see another trail that's going off that way. That goes to the south boundary of Nordhouse Dunes, to a gravel parking lot area, I believe. I prefer to come in from the north. So my camping area is to the left along the shore of the lake, and then off in the woods there somewhere, if I can find a suitable spot again. It's a beautiful day here today. Nobody else around. Not yet anyway. It's a Monday today, and it's early in the season for hiking. Kids are still in school. People at work are back to work. So that's why I like to go out on Mondays. Since I'm retired, I don't have to worry about a work schedule. Well, somebody's been here before me, leaving a sardine can or some kind of can there in the sand. The remains of their campfire, which was not supposed to be here this close to the lake, but people don't follow the rules, they just do what they want. Well, I think I found my home for the night. There's a spot here that's relatively flat. There's a couple sandy spots where some kind of burrowing animal has dug in the ground and thrown sand up on the surface. I don't know what kind of animal this would be, but there's leaves in the holes. They don't look like active burrows, so I'm going to go ahead and use this sandy spot over here to make my fire tonight, so I don't have to clear away a bunch of leaves. It's already cleared for me. I've got a pretty flat spot right there that I just have to remove some sticks from, and I can set my tent up over there. Off in the distance you can just see the lake, and around me are all kinds of leaves, dead branches, plenty of firewood material. So time to set up camp. Well, I've got my campsite set up, my tent is pitched, sleeping bag and pad are inside. Got my fire lay ready with some birch bark, and got dried grass there to help start it. Small twigs, larger twigs. I've got some logs over there, and I've got some other poles here to cut up that I can use for firewood. These initially were my three legs of my tripod for my chair right there. I had it all set up. I sat down in it, and two of the legs cracked in half, and I ended up with my butt on the ground. So now it's firewood. So I had to go back and find three better poles, set it all up again, and now it holds my weight. So I've got a comfortable spot to sit for the night. There's my pack and all my stuff. I've got my little tree shelf set up with a gas stove. Although I am planning tonight to cook over an open fire. I will use this gas stove to boil some water to make my coffee, and I'll use it in the morning also to cook my breakfast. I probably won't restart a fire in the morning. I won't be here long enough to enjoy it. So the fire will just be for tonight. My sleeping bag says it's good to 15 degrees. It'll get tested tonight. I'll probably be all snuggled down in it with my face covered up, and hopefully I'll stay warm. If not, I won't try it again. Okay, I've had my fire going for a little while now, about a half hour actually, and I've got a good bed of coals, and so I'm trying something for the first time. I brought along a nice ribeye steak with me, and I've got a potato wrapped in foil that's been in the coals for a while now, and I'm cooking the steak. I've got some broccoli cooking on my gas stove in some hot water. So I'm hoping to have a really good meal tonight without ruining this steak. So I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, the steak is done the way I like it. Dark pink on the inside, nice and charred on the outside. I put my Montreal steak seasoning on it. It tastes great. So there's the whole meal. Oh, it won't stay in focus. Baked potato came out well cooked. It's a little crunchy on the outside, but the inside is nice and soft. Steak is good. Broccoli is good. I've got some butter with me. Oh, stay in focus. So now I'm going to douse the potato and the broccoli with some butter and salt and pepper, and I'll be all set. Well, my supper's finished. I've built the fire back up, and I'm washing my dinner down with a good cup of coffee. There's my fire pile. I don't know how long it'll last. This wood is not very substantial. It burns pretty quick, so hopefully it lasts until I feel like going to bed. Fire feels good now because it's really starting to get chilly. The sun's going down. It's about 7:30 right now, and I believe they have frost warnings tonight for this area, so it will get cold. Well, it's morning time. I had kind of a restless night last night. I was a little bit on the cold side. Couldn't sleep for half the night for whatever reason. But I'm up now. It's in the 30s. It's cold enough that my fingers are numb, so I'm having trouble doing stuff with my fingers. But I did manage to get a cup of coffee, and I baked a blueberry muffin for breakfast right there. It came out really well, so I'm about to eat that. And then I'm going to pack up and find the trail and head out. Well, I'm packed up. I'm heading out, and I think this is the trail that's going to take me out, although it's not marked. It's completely covered with leaves. So until I actually get underway and I can check my GPS track, I won't really know if I'm on the right track. So here it goes anyway. Passing through a really swampy area right now. There's lots of stagnant water. But luckily the trail stays off to the side on a little bit higher ground, and I don't have to walk through that. At least I'm hoping I don't up ahead. One thing I've been noticing is that I just passed through an area where there were lots of birch trees, but all the birch trees were dead and laying on the ground. I didn't see any standing, actually growing birch trees. And I think that there's some kind of a birch disease that has come through here and pretty much wiped them out. I've heard that you have to go further up north in Michigan before you see birch trees that are thriving. Well, here's something I haven't seen before. It's one of these shelf funguses that grows on the side of trees, and up on top of the shelf it has its own little colony of moss that's growing. It's like a little plateau with moss. Well, now I've got a problem. The trail I've been following comes up to this, what is now a lake. I think in drier weather this would be crossable, but it sure isn't right now after this wet spring we've had. So now it's a home for ducks and geese, and I'm going to have to go off trail and try to get around this low area. I'm sure not going to try to cross it. I'm most of the way around the swamp right now, but it's kind of hard going because right off to my left here is a big ridge. So I'm trying to stay on the side of this ridge without slipping on the leaves down into the swamp. But I think I've just about made it now because I see a flatter area up ahead. So hopefully I won't run into any more of this stuff before I get back. Well, now that I'm past the swamp, I just came to this signpost announcing that this is Nordhouse Dunes Wilderness, which I already knew, so that's not too useful. And then over here is another signpost with absolutely nothing on it other than weathered wood, so that also isn't useful. You can see here where the trail used to go, right down into the swamp. So I am thinking that in late summer or fall, this probably is a dry, grassy area. The water is just built up because of all the rains. And the trail up ahead looks nice and flat and shouldn't be a problem. Well, I just came to a signpost where the trail splits in two different directions. Pictures of bicycles. I guess this must be a mountain biking trail. I'm going to keep going in the direction that I was going. And here's another not useful signpost. This trail is just really not maintained at all. I guess the Forest Service doesn't have money to take care of their signage or mark the trail. So you're pretty much on your own. Well, here's a sign that you actually can read. It says, "Please use stairs." And I think that's because up ahead here well, there's another sign that says, "Please use stairs." They don't want you trying to get up to the top of this ridge by taking this little dangerous trail and causing erosion. My guess is that there's some kind of a lookout or something that would make people want to climb up there. Over in the other direction, there's a campground with picnic tables and fire rings and all that kind of stuff. I'm right on the edge of the Lake Michigan Forest Campground right now. And that means I only have a little ways to go to get back to the parking lot where my car is. I'll just stay on this trail. Well, I made it back to where I started yesterday. Made a complete loop. There's Lake Michigan. This is the stairway that goes from Lake Michigan Recreation Area down to the beach. And then right over here there's a little deck that overlooks the lake, the bench, another stairway down to the beach. It's a bit cloudy today, but it's beautiful here. And this is where my trail started yesterday, right along this this high ridge above the lake. My car is right over there through the trees, so I'm gonna load up, get some more coffee at the first opportunity, and head home.